it's not the week of his Hilula, but I thought it would be representing Jerusalem. He traveled around the world. It's also representing of Eretz Yisrael 6. We're talking about 179 years ago here from time recording. His father's name was Rabbi Rachamim Shneur, happened to be a Bnevistie, who happened to be a very great rabbi. I think they were a family of great rabbis that actually came from Spain, originally from Sfarad recently. And his mother's name was Rabbanit Rivka. She was, I think, the daughter of Rabbi Benjamin Chamui, who was a very, very great rabbi of his time. We've spoken about him before. I think he was had close connections with Syrian heritage, if I'm not mistaken. Now, when he was young, he would learn inside a Talmud Torah and the yeshiva inside his place, respectively. And he would get married to Rabbanit Rachel. She happened to be I believe, the daughter of Rabbi Yitzchak Modina from Thessaloniki. So very, very great rabbis. Now, I think when he was about 28 years of age, in the year 1874, he would go out as a Shluchei Rabbanan and travel to various countries. Why did he go? He went in order to raise funds, I think, for the famous Yeshivat Bet El, a place that we've spoken about on various occasions before. Yeshivat Bet El was a yeshiva of Kabbalists, arguably the bastion of the yeshivot in its day of Jerusalem. So he got that, and he went to various important places, including, I believe, to Turkey. That was one of the ports of call. He would go to Syria. Obviously, he had connections with the Syrian community. Kurdistan also. And he would go to those places on behalf of the famous yeshiva in itself. And he would return to Jerusalem, I think, a year later, around the year 1875. So this is about 150 years ago, here from the time of recording. Now, he would continue doing his important works in it of itself. Then I think come the year 1885, he would then go out to various other places, I think to more African countries, let's say the northern African countries, on behalf this time, not of Jerusalem, of Yeshivat Bet El, but of Hebron, another one of the 4 holy cities of Israel. We actually did a special video on the history of Hebron on Tisha B'Av, and a few days later we did. So he would go to North Africa. Then in 1887, he would go on another shlichut, this time once again for Yeshivat Bet El, and he would now this time expand his horizons, go to India, I think Hodu, and also to Singapore. Remember, Singapore also had a prominent, I think, wealthy Jewish community in that time. Then come the year 1900, right at the start of the 20th century, he was about 54 years of age. He would go as a shliach, representing the Sephardi community of Jerusalem this time. And once again, he would make a traveling to North Africa, very important traveling. In 1904, he would go out again, I think this time to Tunis. Tunis also was very opportune because there was a huge Jewish community there and big Torah community over there. And once again, back to North Africa. And in 1905, he will go, I think, to Calcutta, if I'm not mistaken, and to India, respectively. So he was very well traveled. And remember, in those days, it wasn't so easy to travel like nowadays, where now there's flights from El Al, there's all these different flights all the time. Those days it was a proper voyage, it was a proper travelling. It took a long time, and he would actually then start to work as head of the Jewish court, the Din, when he returned, I think, of the Sephardic community in Jerusalem, along with another famous rabbi, Rabbi Yaakov Danon, another great rabbi. Also along there was Rabbi Avram Philosoph, another great rabbi we've spoken about on various occasions. Well, he was known as a rabbi that could give over great grandiose sermons also, and was able to work also as a chazan, as a cantor, a shliach tzibur inside the synagogue. Now, he passed away on the 12th of April in the year 1916. He did. His son was Rabbi Bechor, and as we said before, I think very much one of the descendants of the famous Rabbi Gabriel Karelik Pereira, rabbi we've spoken about on various occasions before. Now, I believe he was, as we said before, he was very, very well traveled. Jerusalem was part of the Ottoman Empire at that point in time. He was, and it was still in that specific day in itself. I'm not too sure exactly where he was buried, but he had closeness with many people. So remember, he was working for Yeshivat Bet El at the time period, especially in 1800. We know obviously that Rabbi Gedalia Chayon and Rabbi Mordechai Sharabi, the Rashash, were the let's say, the early rabbis of Yeshivat Betel, but the time period when he was working as Shluchei the Rabbanan, there were various different heads during that point of time of the Yeshiva, including Rabbi Chaim Avram Gagin, Rabbi Yedidia Raphael Abulafia. I think he was very much there at this point in time. Remember, Rabbi Abulafia was Rosh Yeshiva of Yeshivat Betel between the years 1848 to 1871, and then that was followed by Rabbi Aaron Azriel, who I think we spoke about quite recently. It might be his Hilula or someone in Azriel, rabbinic families Hilula, I think this week. And also I think Rabbi Shalom Moshe Chai Gagin also was around that specific area in itself, but there was many great Rosh Yeshivot of the famous Yeshivat Betel of Yester. Yes, so he left great descendants. Most notably, one of the descendants he would leave is another great rabbi called Rabbi Sadia Benevistie, who we spoke about last night. That's why we're doing it here. It happens to be his Hilula on the month of Av. Rabbi Sadia Benevistie, he was nicknamed Rabbeinu. He was born in the year 1876 and passed away in 1957. He was an educator in Jerusalem. He was working in Uzbekistan, in Bukhara, in Syria, in Lebanon. He had a prominent role. He was like the leading rabbi in various different places. I think in Argentina, even in Koreans, I think he was there. And he was part of the Beit Din, the Jewish court in Jerusalem. He actually, noticeably enough, we said yesterday, we spoke about him. He learned in Dresh Tzion School and in the Tiferet Yushlaim Cheder, also under the auspices of Rabbi Yitzchak Ashkenazi and Rabbi Tzion Avram Kohanika, really great rabbis of his time. More roles he would do. I think his son Rabbi Sadia Benevistie, through the permission of Rabbi Cheskia Shabtai, who was a great rabbi at that point in time, especially a world-renowned rabbi, he would actually convince him to go to Syria and then to work, I think, in various cities to become an educator in various different schools over there, I think connected to the Alliance, and eventually he would end up in Lebanon, in Beirut, and in Beirut he would be an educator there, I believe, for 2 years, and would really inspire the Sephardi community in Jerusalem when he would come back, he'd become part of the Beit Din over there, and become a very, very great rabbi. We actually spoken about him before. I think a famous historian, someone named Meir Ben Yahu, who happens to have been related to Rabbi Yitzchak Nissim, the previous Rishon LeZion of Israel, would actually speak about these great rabbis, especially of Rabbi Sadia Benevistie. But in today's special edition, we happen to be speaking about another great rabbi, Rabbi Bechor Yosef Benevistie, who passed away 109 years ago from the time of recording, one of the famous Shluchei Rabbanans in his time of Eretz Yisrael, without doubt, especially during the later parts of the 1800s and the early parts of the 1900s. So I recommend everyone to learn more within regards to him, and I believe he passed away, as we said before, in Jerusalem, which is part of the Ottoman Empire at that point in time. So he had actually a signature as a Shadar, as Shluchei Rabbanan, and there was, I don't think we've met many other rabbis in this series so far that were as great as, let's just say, travelers as he was. We've spoken about nearly about 1,200 rabbis. That's a fascinating thing over here. I think other chroniclers and historians will actually write about Rabbi Bechor Yosef Benevistie. I think it can be pronounced other ways. He's featured very much in an encyclopedia, I believe, and I think someone named David Tita will actually speak about him also. And also, I think Moshe David Gaon, another famous historian of Yessi, who we actually spoke about also, who wrote an encyclopedia, a brilliant encyclopedia with regards to history of the Sephardic Jews, especially in Eretz Yisrael, will actually chronicle him over. I think his book, Moshe David Gaon's book, was called the Yidei HaMizrach Be'eretz Yisrael. That, I think, he is featured, he's spoken about in page 165 of that specific Torah book. So happens to be the Hilula of famous Abedin, the head of Jewish court of Jerusalem, and learn more about him. He was, at the time he passed away, he was about 70 years of age, the great rabbi was. So he was a Chazan, as we said before. He was a Shluchei Rabbanan in Jerusalem. He was head of Jewish court and had many important roles also in Israel. So I recommend everyone to learn more about him. Now, friends, we are learning about the great rabbis of Yesser Yeh. If you descend from any of the great Chachamim we are speaking about, please send me an email. I would love to hear more information on them. If you feel anyone's interested in watching any of these videos of the great rabbis we're speaking about, share it to them also. if you descend from a great rabbi and you want us to speak about them, please let me know more information. I would love to maybe research upon them and see how they're connected to other great rabbanim, and possibly do record a video also about them. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel. We are nearing a staggering 7,000 subscribers, which is a phenomenal achievement for this community, as for a community as a whole. So recommend everyone. You're well, recording here from the area of Beitar here in Jerusalem, and just enjoying to Jerusalem at the moment. Be well, and blessings. Thanks to everyone.